Hello and welcome to Flooring Models Kit View Time. Today we've got Eduard's latest release. This is their gorgeous 1/48 scale Royal Class edition of the P-51B Mustang. So obviously you probably all know what the Royal Class is. The Royal Class, normally you get a load of goodies with it, a few little extras, some really nice decal options, and you know, sometimes you get two kits in it, and this is one of those ones. So actually in this kit you've got two P-51B Mustangs, and I have to say, let's face it, I think we'd all really agree, this is the gold standard for 1/48 scale Mustangs. Obviously we've seen lots of them, and I've got them down in here, and lots of their special editions and limited editions of the P-51D Mustang and things like that. And again, really nice. So now obviously we've come along with the brand new, with the B version, which is technically the one with the sort of razorback, as I call it, and you obviously got a little bit more of the birdcage type effect around the canopies and things like that. Personal opinion, and it's only my own one, so don't flame me for it, I still think this is the best looking Mustang. That and the one with the RAF canopy on it, the Spitfire canopy, that's a cool one. But again, some really nice marking options in this one. So as we can see in the box, nothing particularly to shout home about. All right, pretty simple but clean lines of the box. Some of the options that you get, and when we say some of them, it's literally just some of them as well, so we'll have a proper look through those in the instructions in the moment. And then down in here you can see your number for this one is Royal Class, so it's R0019, so it's obviously the 19th edition of this one. As you can see, you get two complete kits of the obviously the P-51B and the P-51C Mustangs. Production blocks, there you go, B5NA, B7NA, B10NA, B15NA, C-1NT, and Mustang Mark III. So there you go, you've got you covered on all of these ones. You got photo etch, die cut masks, the usual bits down in there. You've got 14 marking options. You've got the Brazin wheel sets, so obviously there's two in those, the exhaust stacks for it, and obviously you've got the actual wheels as well. All right, you've also got landing gear bays, plugs, which are done by Omask, which we'll have a look at as well, because I've never seen those. And obviously we've got the Eduard space instrument panels for these kits as well. And again, there we go, that's the one I like, that's the finest looking one of all. All right, so down in the box we are greeted by, as you can see, two full complete kits. I'll just put something to hold this up. There we go. Two full sets. So you see, you've got really quite a round box. So we got in here, as you can see, in 3 bags, we've got your 2 kits. So basically it's just duplicates in each bag of 3. All right, so we've got those down in there. We've obviously got your clear parts, lots of clear parts, because obviously we've got lots of different versions down in here. All right, so there we go. So we've got technically 4 bags, so it's 2 and 2 for your canopies. We've got those plugs, which we'll look at those properly in a moment, because I haven't seen those before, so I'd like to see those ones. We get the little pin badge. All right, so we got those. We've got, obviously, I assume this is the Brazin bits in an unmarked box, all right, because obviously there's 2 sets in there. All right, we've got that one. We've got the poster, which we'll have a look at in a moment as well. And then we've got really nice, very glossy, actually very nice and glossy. We've got the instructions with all the gorgeous marking options down in there as well. Doesn't stop there, because obviously we've got 2 lots of colour photo etch as well, with all the different instrument panels down in there as well. We've got, we'll do these step by step, a full die cut mask set for 2. We've got the space set down in there as well. So this is for the P-51BC. We've got one of those down in there. And then obviously we've got instrument panels, if you're not going to use those, different versions of it as decals, and obviously a little bit of nose art. And then we've got a huge decal sheet as well. So we've got quite a lot to go through on here. To start off with, as always, we're starting the old instructions. Lots of information down here, obviously, about the procurement of the P-51, various bits and pieces, the prototypes, and all the rest of it down in here, which most of us probably know already. The Mustangs, we know, as I say, because of obviously it's very much different versions of and all the rest of it. So some of these parts we won't be using because they're going to be for later versions of the P-51, but obviously, so you've got common sprues. So just keep an eye out for the bits you won't be using, as well as the ones you do. This is the nice bit. So obviously we've got 2 lots of the colour photo etch, as you said, down in there. We've got that mask set And obviously we've got the Brazen set. So we've got the two different types of seats down in there. We've got the two different types of wheels down in there. And we've got the different types of the exhaust stacks as well. So some really nice options all the way through. All right. So starting off, as you might imagine, we're inside the cockpit to start off with. So we've got the seat, depending on which one you're doing. All right. Depending on the markings. It can be one of those things, pick it, and then maybe worth just popping through with a colour marker just to make sure you're following along the right path of the version that you're doing. Anyway, seats going onto the rear bulkhead. We've got the fuel tank down at the back there. And usually we've got all the radio equipment and various things are going to go on top. All the bits and pieces down into the cockpit. Very, very nice indeed. And again, we've got the batteries and all those things going down on here as well. And again, you can see just how it lines up where it should be. So really nice, good, clear pictures showing you how it's all going to go. Then we're working onto the sidewalls. And again, a little bit of differences depending on which versions you're doing and things like that as well. So just keep an eye out for all of those. All right, then we've got those being fitted down into the actual sidewalls itself. Tail wheel system being fitted and going through, which is beautifully detailed. Not that you're going to see it. All right, and then there we go. We're going right the way back down. So we've got plenty of colour placards and things like that being fitted to liven up that internal cockpit right the way through. Then obviously we're going to be buttoning up both halves together. We're getting those rear teardrop windows fitted down into this one, and then we're down into the main gear wheel wells. So again, we're putting in those rivets and formers and various bits and pieces, sorry, runners and formers, down into those just like that. Wing sections going together down in there as well. And then obviously we've got the guns being fitted into this one right the way through. And then again, depending on different markings, depending on various things you're going to be having, the little lights and stuff like that. So just keep an eye out on the versions that you're doing all the way through. Separate tail planes, but they're not posable without taking a chunk of this off. Again, I've done this on other ones, so it's easily to nip these down, and then you can actually, or not nip the end one, but nip the main one, and then you can pose it into whichever position you want to. Same goes along with the rudder as well. All right, so we've got all of those ones down in there. Then we're back into the instrument panel, again, depending on which version you're doing, so just keep an eye out for these different version options down in here, and then the instrument panel being dropped down in the top, which again, another nice way of doing it. We've got the radiator at the back. Obviously, I assume you can have it open or closed as well. You can fit that in. Air scoop going into the front. And then again, a few little bits on the sides and the fairings on the fronts being fitted onto this one. We're good to go. Again, making decisions on which wheels you're going to be going for. And again, you've got a wheel mast set down in there just for doing those ones. Main gear assembly right the way through. Flap assembly going on there. And again, you've got some photo etch just to liven and detail these parts up as well. Then it's gear and flaps being installed onto it. And then obviously you've got gear doors being fitted onto it just down in there like that. Then we turn our attentions over, and again, different versions depending on which one you're going to be doing. So we've got you covered. All your different parts are down in there with the actual Brazen parts as well for the exhausts. All right, prop being fitted down onto this one, and then obviously options if you're going to be doing canopy open or close, whichever way you're going to go through, things like that. Photo etch parts as well for the static gun sight down at the front there, and then obviously you've got all the various parts being fitted on there. And then again, different versions, different bits and pieces as well with the canopies and things going on and front windscreens. So just keep an eye out which version you're doing to make sure you're following on the right path. Then obviously drop tanks, we've got the paper tanks, we've got the aluminium tanks, or we've got a couple of, I think these are 250-pound bombs being fitted down in there under the wings. All right, nice mast set right the way through to make sure you get a nice crispy finish for all your clear parts, which is absolutely a must. All right, and that will complete your build. Then we got some beautiful options down in here as well. And again, I have my personal favorite, which of course I will tell you in a moment. But to be honest, all of these are absolutely gorgeous. All right, so again, I'm going to go right the way through. This is, to be honest, my favorite looking one as well, because I do love it with the actual, with the B, with the, I call it the Spitfire canopy. I'm sure it's got a different one down in there, but again, very nice job on there. But again, I have done numerous ones of the actual C's and B's in the past. So again, very, very nice colourful options right the way through, depending if you want to go with the olive drab effect or you want to go with more of the aluminium effect. You've got you covered on all counts, but some really, really nice ones down in here. Shark's mouth, just something about it. Absolutely fantastic. You've got invasion stripes and a shark mouth. Tell me if life can't get any better than that. So again, very, very nice right the way through. But again, that's my favourite. There's just something, I think the Mustang with that sort of Spitfire part of the canopy type thing onto it and all the rest of it, it just, I don't know, just the pinnacle of the actual Mustang looks absolutely gorgeous like that. So again, some really, really nice options down in here. Little one that I did last year. Obviously I did the Tamiya version, but in those markings. So again, very, very nice right the way through. Bald Eagle, obviously very famous as well, and obviously Louis III done by Tamiya in the past as well. So we've got some really very, very nice options. Stencil data, again, covered you on all fronts right the way through. Nice, good. But really, the instructions are absolutely on par with anything. Really nice, concise, right the way through. So you've got some great options for your builds just down in there. So, Decals. Now, I'm not going to get these out and all the rest of it because a lot has been said about the Decals. This is their new breed, I do believe, of Decals, unless they've suddenly changed them. No, they haven't. All right. So I know they're like Marmite. You've got people who love them and hate them. I've had problems with in the past. I think if you treat them as a decal, really you'll have no problems. Just remember, these ones don't like enamel thinners anywhere near them. So if you're an oil wash person, or you do a little bit of oil work and then you come along with thinners afterwards with enamels, just be very careful around these because the actual carrier film will dissolve and come away, which can take and lead to accidents with the main decal themselves. And I don't want to, go on too much about this one, but this is one of those areas where it's divided the modeling community. That one of the reasons we will buy their kits, especially this type of thing like the Royal Class and obviously the limited edition kits, is for the decals and the options. But I know they're giving a lot of people a lot of problems. Most of this is really born down to not knowing how the decals work. But as I say, do your homework on it. Go off and have a look at some videos and various bits and pieces. I haven't used them, to be honest, since the last time they completely screwed me over and ended up destroying them. All right, so I would now definitely take a moment just to understand how these decals work right the way through. And I think once you've done that, you can go back to using them and all the rest of it. But again, why they moved away from, the best kit in the world with the best decals, and now they've gone to these, I'm not quite sure. But that's the personal ramblings of a madman. All right, so we got those. We've got a couple of options down in here. So we got some of these ones as well. So these are for your instrument panels for the different versions, and we've got a little bit of nose art down in there as well. So it's very nice with that. We've got it looks like we've just got the one, so I'm assuming it's just the one version down in here. But we got for the P-51, we've actually got a space set. So this is the 3D color printed parts, and again, beautiful, very, very nice. You get a very good quality of the color down in these, and obviously because it's 3D printed, you've got the nice texture, so it's not as flat as you get with these when you're using just the standard color photo etch ones. But nevertheless, we've got all the harnesses down in here. Said before, we've got all your placards around the cockpit and all the bits and pieces. So again, some really nice stuff, and obviously you get two sets down in there, but so you only looks like you get one space set with that. We've also got a mask set, so this is the die cut mask set. You probably just see it in there as well. Absolute must when you're doing this type of thing. All right, then in here we are greeted by the resin bits, I hope. I can get in. We need to cut the sides as well. There we go. So we've got just a little bit of resin. So obviously don't forget we've got the two types. So again, they're not doubling up on everything. We've got one of each type of seat. All right, and then with all these parts, you can do it in the plastic as well. So we've got both sets of the seat down in there as well. So we've got the sort of full bucket version and the normal one. All right, so we've got two seats. And then again, down in here, you haven't got two sets of everything, you've got one set of all the wheels and the various bits in here as well. So again, you've almost got one version of, and again, exhaust stacks and that. So what I'm saying is you can't make two of the same. All right, so we've got those. Just close those up, keep those nice and safe. All right, so the other thing with this kit is you get these, and I've never seen these before. And this is one of those things where I think, why? Why would they? And you know what it'll be. I'll use one once and I'll think, oh, that's the best thing ever. Now, the great thing with these is it's basically a wheel well masking plug. So this is actually, as you can see, it's completely die cut and it fits perfectly into the wheel well in one. So you just, instead of us using like normal, a bit of masking or a little bit of white tack or even a little bit of foam and putting these are perfect fits. So you just drop them in, push them into place, and away you go. Stab them with a pair of tweezers and pull them out of the way, and you've got a perfect mask. The great thing with these, and I think it's the thing that a lot of people forget, is reusable. So you can use these forever. So technically, if you're doing a Mustang, you've now got a mask set for doing the wheel wells. Keep them safe. and everything, and you'll be good to go. So yeah, it's one of those ones. I think at the time you think why, but actually I think once you've used it and you've got them, they're great. So if you're somebody who does a lot of Mustangs, it's a great thing to have. So very nice with those. We've got a little pin badge. So we've got the 8th Air Force little pin badge down in here, which is just literally a little, there you go, I won't take it off, you can see. Just a little pin badge, just like that. It's an enamel pin badge, very nice. Something a little bit different. At least it's not a glass or a tankard or something else like that, which could get broken in the post. So yeah, very, very nice. Anyway, last up for the bits and pieces you're going to get is this. I'm going to try and do this. I'll be able to get this back in afterwards, which you know I won't. What we've got down in here is a beautiful print. So again, really, really nice. And it's just gorgeous artwork. You know, if you're a fan, very much like I suppose all of us are, of the Eduard artwork and things like that, it's just an absolute thing of beauty. Get it framed up, get it on the wall, and yeah, it definitely becomes a talking point. And again, very, very, very poignant. All right, especially as obviously we're just coming up to the anniversary, the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So very nice, and I will endeavour to try and get that probably back in the slippy case later on. Right, okay, so that's getting to the good stuff. So if we're starting with, again, some of these we've seen before, some of these parts we haven't. Let's start with the bits that we haven't. So down in here, what we've got is 4 screws, I assume. All right, so 2 of these, it's just a matched pair. So obviously I'll be just showing one. So we've got a matched pair of the wings over there. And obviously we've got a matched pair of the fuselages. So just move those out of the way just for a sec. So starting with the fuselage, as you can see, big old bit of gappy here, but hey. Again, if you've never seen them, they're sort of legendary. It's got this very flat texture, so it's very difficult to see, but the riveting detail is so fine on here. It's gorgeous. So make sure when you're painting these, I know a lot of people say, oh, you lose all the detail when you're painting. Honestly, thin your paint, turn your air pressure down, you'll be fine. But look at the gorgeous riveting and detail on that. And this is why Eduard stands head and shoulders above all the other manufacturers. Even the really high-end people can't do riveting that fine. Again, it's difficult to see, I know, but if you look at this tail, look at the riveting on that. That's just exquisite. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful work all the way through. We always talk about rivet counters and how I'm not one, but I do appreciate them. Very, very nice. Again, on the inside, we've got nothing really again, but what I can appreciate is look how polished that mold is. Look at that. You can see the milling machine marks down in here, but how clean is the inside as well. So again, we've got 2 of these, absolutely amazing. All right, then over to the wing section. So we've got the wings down in here again, looking absolutely gorgeous. And what they've done this time is what we've been all talking about for a while, is basically putty up the wings. So again, we've got the panel lines, but we're not covered in rivets as some manufacturers have done. They've got it all correct down in here. So we are completely devoid of all the riveting on the tops of the wings, and certainly certain areas on the bottom, because they would have been puttied over in the factory and done. And again, I love that effect that they've actually got. The gun bays are somewhat open, so aftermarket down that way as well. Expect a Brazen set near you. All right, so again, really, really nice. The underside, again, some of it's puttied over, but other areas like down in here, as you can see, as on the real thing, nice load of riveting and the various bits. But again, looking at the tail planes, you can see we've got the riveting down in there. We've got the, these are the flaps. Again, we've got the riveting on those. I'm going to show in the light. There we go. There we go. All right. So generally, very, very nice indeed. And again, different types of rudder, different types of effect. So obviously we've got the metal one, and obviously we've got the fabric one. So again, really very, very nicely done for the different types. Beautifully done. And again, just to appreciate the engineering and the quality on the inside where you don't even see it. Absolutely exquisite. Right, okay. Now I've just got to try and make a bit of room to all of this. 1 second. Okay. So Then again, we're somewhat very similar. So just down in here, apologies, deafened everyone now. All right, so if we pop down in here, as you can see, we've got the details. So some of this clearly we're not going to be using. So we've got wheel hubs in here, and obviously we've got exhaust and stuff. But like we were saying, they do come with the kit, so you are covered. But beautiful sway braces for the bomb racks. We've got the geared doors. We've actually, this is the tail wheel, so when you're looking up inside, that no one will do, but you've got the detail all in there, which is really, really nice. And again, the detail down in here with the actual the wheel wells. This is just obviously the upper wing surface. And again, we've got all the formers down in here, all those wheel hubs, the tyres and things, and obviously more parts, as you can see, all the way through. So beautifully, beautifully done. Even the guns, considering again, tiniest little details. Very, very nice indeed with all of those. All right, so then we've got, this is the sprue P with all the cockpit parts and the various bits going through. So as you can probably see, the seats, you've got the normal ones in here, so to speak, and things like that. But again, some of these you're not going to be using. Instrument panel, for instance, you can see it's got the bezel detail on it and things like that if you did want to go through and use the decal option. All right, they are all here and you have got it in the kit. Same goes with all of these. A lot of these up in here, of course, you're going to be removing the detail and you're going to be putting the placards in because you've got the colour photo etch for it. So there is a little bit of chop and change. Again, great sidewall detail right the way through, incredibly fine, very, very nice all the way through. And again, the details down in here at the battery, through fuel tank and battery areas. Very, very nice indeed. Floor, we've got raised details down on the floor as well as recessed. Very nice. Rudder pedals, the stick. Beautifully, beautifully done. Very, very nice indeed. All right, so that. Then last up over here, we've got the, there we go. We've actually got the drop tanks, and obviously some of these we're not going to be using because it's later on in the war, so obviously the big rockets and things like that we're not going to be using on here, but obviously down in here we've got the paper tanks and obviously the teardrop tanks, 500-pound bombs, things like that. Actually they're 250-pound bombs or a 500-pound bomb. All right, down in there, depending on which one you want to do. And also again, beautifully done, very nice. The actual sway braces, the bomb racks, the bombs, the details on the aluminium and on the paper tanks, got that corrugated type look to it. Beautifully done. And again, you know, it sounds funny, but you get excited over the inside being so polished and shiny. It's like beautiful, very, very nice. We've got those, and then down in here we've got the props. So again, as we know, the props changed, and you know, you can probably see the difference from the big paddle ones down in here to the more pointy ones, and yeah, everything sort of in between, the different types of them. But again, we've got all the different versions down in here. Some of the parts, you've got the engine parts down in here, the spinners. You can see, very nice indeed with all of those. Last up, we've got the clear parts. And again, these are all nicely separate bagged. So if we just start in one and we'll work our way over. So as you can see, usual thing. Notice they've actually got a slight tinge of colour, which is unusual, because normally they're just crystal clear. But there is, I don't know if you can see it as well on camera, it's like a, I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like a smoke effect of the clear parts. Definitely not going to see it when it's in. But it just, yeah, to my naked eye looking at it, has almost a little bit of colour to it. But you can see, beautifully done. This is something I've been talking about, which is funny because it's twofold here, but you can see how the canopy is run to the panel line. So what this means is when you're gluing it down, you're not holding onto this little piece and having a glue mark running up the side and around the front. It's got a nice, good distance, and it's something I've been harping on about for the last 20 years. And still nobody takes any notice of me. But again, really nice. As you can see over here, we've got the canopy. So we've actually got the canopy itself. Obviously, this is the closed one, but the open one, you've got the track underneath. So this isn't some type of mismold or something. This is the tracking coming off the front of it and then goes through. So this spreader keeps it to the correct distance All right, so it actually goes down beautifully well on there, just like that. You can probably see down in here how delicate and small these are the nav lights are as well. So again, really very, very nice indeed. And then we've got that one. Where's the other canopy? So in here somewhere, that's the one we've just done. So now we want this one. So this is the more the birdcage one. This is what we're talking about with this front piece that comes off. Just makes gluing down so much easier because you've just got that little bit of wiggle room, you know, probably just about a millimetre, $1.5 millimeters, just at its closest point. The rest of it, you haven't got a problem. So if you did make a hash of it, you can sand, rescribe, re-rivet, no problem at all. Not that it's up in here causing you too many problems. There we go. This is the one with obviously with the side door. So we've got it closed completely up and then obviously open. You've got the drop down one and the roof part hinges up just down in there. Again, these teardrop type windows, as I call them at the back, unfortunately, they don't go to the nearest panel line because, to be honest, I don't think they could. All right, but there you go. That's those down in there, just like that. And again, various parts. So you do have two of these sprues just like this. And then obviously we've got two of the more modern type, shall we say, down in there. And that, to be honest, is it. I often do kit reviews, and one of the biggest bugbears with me is when manufacturers just keep releasing the same old stuff and nothing gets any better. You know, you don't see a step up, or it's almost a step backwards, if that makes sense. What's really nice with this one is obviously there is other versions of this around, or the standard one. You don't have to get the raw class, but the kit inside is beautiful. As I said, for a gold standard of a P-51 Mustang in 1/48 scale, easily is the Eduard kit. It is a gorgeous, beautiful kit all the way through. You can probably tell when just looking at the molds how crisp and sharp and really nice they actually are. The level of detail into these kits is just off the chart. And again, we've got some great marking options down in there and everything else. My only bugbear, just a small one, is those decals. The decals, when they were done by Cartograph, were just beautiful, and I never had a single problem in using them for the last 20 years. They just went down, they just perfect, never had an issue. But when they've moved now to the new in-house version, I just don't think they're as nice. They're not quite as crisp and as sharp. The colour's not quite as vibrant and all the rest of it. So in some ways, it's the only thing that pains me about these kits, because you do pay a lot of money for them. But now I know modelers out there who look for aftermarket decals. So it's one of those things, you're almost buying the weekend editions of these kits because you're going to need decals from something else because they don't want to use them. And again, it's one of those ones where I'm all for trying to bring things in-house and do it yourself and everything else like that, keep the costs down and obviously more control over your production. But if you're sort of dropping the standard down just a little bit, and I know there's going to be loads of you out there who actually love their new decals and you're peeling off the film and it's working for you every single time, but trust you, you know, with our membership, we've got 3,500 members on Flory Models. I hear the horror stories where people have made a bit of a mistake, and can anyone help? Has anyone got replacement decals for? Because they've tried to use them and they've bitten me twice, and that's why I've been avoiding them since. But that said, I will have to have another go at it, and if I was, this is definitely the kit I'd do it on, because after all that said, I think this is a beautiful presentation. It's a beautiful kit. You've got two great Mustangs. You've got all the aftermarket bits you're going to need, all in one box. And to be honest with you, being the Royal class, it's a little bit of a collector's item. Although if you're like me, I'd just build it.